welcome back to Turning Hustle into Legacy, the place where elevation isn't a trend, it's a lifestyle. I am your host, Dr.Stance. And today we're just kind of talking about a mindset that is rare, it's powerful, it's uncomfortable, and it's absolutely necessary for the next level of growth. The fear of God. Today's topic is fear of God. This rare mindset will definitely elevate your spiritual life. Let's get right into it. So, I'm going to say this, not the fear like being scared, but fear like reverence, respect, alignment, and accountability. In a generation kind of obsessed with being fearless, nobody wants to admit that the fear of God is the real foundation of power. So today, we go in there. So let's talk about what it really means to fear God. Most people hear fear of God and think punishment. No. The real meaning is a divine awareness that your life is bigger than you. Okay? Let me explain that. Your choices echo in places you can't see. You know, that purpose requires obedience. That destiny requires discipline. The fear of God is knowing you cannot play with your calling. Knowing you can't treat purpose casually. Okay? Knowing you can't live sloppy and expect elevation. Knowing that God doesn't bless rebellion, but he honors reverence. Fear of God is your foundation. Elevation without a foundation is a goddamn collapse. Excuse me, Lord. He knows my peace. He knows my mouth. Okay? That's my relationship with him. Don't judge me. So anyway, yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's the definition of the fear of God. Don't play with your calling or your purpose. For example, me doing transitional housing for the foster youth. Y'all know I'm always going to talk about that. That's my purpose. That's my calling. And guess what? I can't be sloppy with it. Okay? I can't be rebellious with the business plan, with the operations, with the money. We get a lot of money. The moment I'm sloppy or rebellious with that money, I promise you, God will not elevate me. So listen, my foundation is from the fear of God, but I need to make sure that my elevation without that foundation don't collapse. Because see, once you don't fear him, listen, I fear you. Okay? Listen, the fear of God versus the fear of people. Let's get real. Most people don't fear God. They fear opinions. They fear being judged. They fear being misunderstood. Shit, they feel missing out. They fear looking weird, losing people, being different, standing alone. Hell, even saying no. You cannot elevate spiritually while depending on human approval. Because spiritual elevation requires that you're going against the crowd. You're walking away from familiar sins, okay? You're choosing discipline over desire. You know, they always say life is so easy to do right. Or is it opposite? It's so easy to do wrong, but it's hard to do right. Okay. Work with me, y'all. Y'all know I'm a little touched. But let's be real. It is extremely easy to do wrong because let's say a broke man, he can go and rob a store, rob a bank and get paid that day, change his entire life. But to go to 9 to 5 every single day, 7 days a week to just make a regular living is hard as hell. Okay? It's hard, but that's the right way. So the day you fear God more than people, that's the day your real life begins. And I'll tell you how the fear of God shapes your character. Everybody wants blessings, but blessings sit on the shoulders of the character. I tell my friend this all the time. Is it right through God? Is it right through God, people? Okay? Listen, your character is built by restraint, honor, integrity, accountability, your private discipline, humility, and doing right when no one is fucking watching. That's what character is built on. So the fear of God makes you care about how you speak, which is something I definitely struggle with, okay? It cares about how you treat people. It cares, about how you connect, how you build your life, how you allow or what you allow in your spirit. Character opens doors that talent just cannot, and fear of God builds that character. So it's important why we know why this mindset is rare. Let's talk about why so many few people operate like this. Because the fear of God, it makes you accountable. People don't like that. It makes you self-correct. People don't like that. Discipline is probably one of the hardest things in life to accomplish. I'll say, for example, me working out every damn day. But I sit here and look at these saggy titties and these big old thighs, and I'm like, Lord, I need to be self-disciplined. Discipline can change that. So I try not to even complain about it, right? Because again, the fear of God, it could leave you a certain lifestyle. It could refuse certain opportunities. It make you walk away from certain people. I mean, it just does a lot. Most people want spirituality without that sacrifice. So anointing without alignment, it's not going to work. Power without purity, it's not going to work. The influence without obedience, it does not work. The fear of God requires submission. And guess what? That is rare. So elevation is not random. It's a result. So let's talk about how fear of God produces your spiritual elevation. Here's what the fear of God activates in your life. Okay, clarity. When you fear God, confusion leaves you, period. God becomes the voice you listen to about every dang on thing. Clarity. Protection. When you fear God, he blocks connection. He blocks deals and relationships that would destroy you. Okay, that is a very powerful one. I always say, God is not going to bring nobody in my life that ain't meant for me. It could be either a lesson or a blessing. I'm up for either one because that lesson can be my blessing and that blessing can be my lesson, right? So protection is definitely important. Wisdom. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, meaning you see deeper than most. That's a blessing. That's a discernment that, listen, everybody don't tap into it. But I'll say my circle definitely do, at least 95% of them. Okay, peace. You sleep better when your life is aligned. Okay, that's definitely well needed. Strength. That's obedience that builds spiritual muscle. Discipline. That's the fear of God that kills the spirit of I'll do it later. And guess what? Acceleration. God elevates the people he can trust. Okay, your spiritual life goes to a higher frequency because you're no longer driven by emotion. You're driven by purpose. So listen, this mindset just changes everything. The lifestyle of someone who fears God, that lifestyle and that mindset can change your entire being. So here's what it looked like in a daily life. You move with intention, meaning every action is connected to purpose. You refuse reckless environments, like you don't play with places that weaken your spirit. If you're trying to quit drinking, why in the hell is you in the club? Why is you at a bar? Okay. You guard your tongue. Your words have weight, so you got to be humble. That's one on mine. That's on my bucket list right there, working on doing those things. Okay. You guard your heart. Peace is expensive. Okay. And listen, I'll pay to have some peace any day. I'll even lose some money to have some peace. Facts. You guard your purpose. Not everybody deserves access. They just don't. You stay humble. You self-check. And you wait for God's timing. You stop forcing things out of fear or desperation. Okay? This is called spiritual maturity, spiritual authority. And this is how a legacy is literally built, y'all. So I'm going to close this by saying, if you want a spiritual elevation, which can transform financial, emotional, okay, mental, all based on a spiritual elevation. If you want clarity, strength, wisdom, peace, and real growth, you got to start with fearing God, darling. You got to. This mindset will separate you. It will protect you, purify you, guide you, and elevate you. Because listen, when God can trust you privately, he can bless you publicly. This is rare, but so are you. Thanks for tapping into Turning Hustle into Legacy. If this word hit your spirit, drop a fire, or a God first, and share this with someone who's ready to elevate. I will see y'all next episode. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe.